Welcome into Jets Nation Radio, episode 12. I'm Angus Hout. You can actually see my government name. My dad pointed that out to me. So I'm
I
still
have
Angus
a I
Hout.
have a bit of a story before we get going.
Yeah, let's hear it because this has been a big week for the two of us here. So
It
let's.
has been a big week, and it actually comes from Friday night. So Angus and I had our graduation on Friday night, and afterwards, I my brother-in-law was there, and I hear that apparently he was looking through it took a while. There were a lot of people. I hear he was looking through the program, and he pointed out to my sister. He goes, "Oh, look at this poor guy's name." And it was who we all know and love as Angus Hout, but
Yeah,
it was his full legal name.
there's a reason why I go by Angus Hout, and I honestly hadn't noticed until my old man pointed it out to me, and I meant to deal with that beforehand, and then kind of forgotten until right now. And oh yeah, legal name. So please don't laugh too hard at my actual government name. Also, big congratulations to you there, Sam, student of the year from Herzing College 2021.
Yeah, thank you.
It's
Thank you very
we only
much.
hire the best, but the guy at top isn't. But we only hire the best here on Jets
Yeah,
Nation.
well
So
that's the point. You get to the top and then you get to hire the smart people below
yeah,
you.
exactly. You don't have to be the smartest guy around. You just have to get yourself to the top. So,
There you go.
kids, if you're listening to this, that's how business works. Don't be smart, be reasonable. Yeah. Also, I don't know what's more impressive: the fact that David Rittich allowed 3 goals in like a minute 50, or Sam Brownell hitting 5 balls in a row in pool and sinking all 5 of them to win the game.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. We were also out at the bar on Thursday night. That was impressive. I'm just gonna say it. That was probably the greatest athletic moment of my career.
Oh
Just
yeah,
like getting absolutely hammered on the pool table at the bar and sinking 5 in a row to end it off.
that was pretty impressive because you guys were gonna lose. I think they had
Oh,
the
we
guys you
were
were
getting
playing.
killed.
Yeah, 5 in a row. It's
Those guys were
absolutely
really
impressive.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, so first preseason game. You said you didn't get a chance to watch most of it, but from what you did watch, was there anyone that really impressed you?
No one particularly impressed. It wasn't spectacular hockey. I mean, guys are learning a new system. The power play sucked, although there were some good moments of Perfetti and Dubois moving the puck around. One guy that exceeded my expectation, I would say, is probably Stenland.
Oh
He's
yeah,
not going to be in the lineup, but he is a guy that has played some NHL games and could add some depth over the year as we inevitably start to see some guys go down here and there. It could be a guy that has that experience that could potentially come into the lineup. A guy you're not too worried about sticking up in the press box because it's going to hurt his development or anything like that. So I do think I was pretty happy with how he played in that sense.
yeah. He's just a thick guy that's out there. He's gonna be a great fourth liner. 13th forward for the Jets. Somebody that actually really impressed me that hasn't played any Jets hockey yet is Leon Gawani. Gawanic?
Gawanke.
Is
Gawanke.
that Gawanke? Is that how
I
we say
think
it?
so. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I've heard like 6 different enunciations on that one, but yeah, no, he was just like out there the entire time. I was really impressed with him, and also Johnny Kovacevic too. They're just
Yeah.
like both those
I, I've
guys.
I've
I'm like,
liked
yeah,
Kovacevic the last couple of years on the Moose, and then what he's shown with the Jets, I thought was pretty good. And I've heard good things about our German Leon. But I'm not even gonna try for his last name. But yeah, I think those guys, and I think they're both ahead of Stanley on my depth chart right now. Yikes!
yeah, yikes indeed. So what is that? Like 43 seconds into the game, and Stanley just blows it. Bad
Pretty bad.
pass, and David Rittich couldn't save it. And I'm not putting that one on Rittich. Like, he wants that one back, obviously, but I was just like, classic Logan Stanley takes another penalty later in the first period. Luckily, the Jets were able to kill that off. But man, Logan Stanley's just looking lost out there. And I get that it's a new system for the guy, but
Like, you got to come out and show something when you're like, I think the last couple of years, and I do think 2 years ago, his kind of what we'll call a breakout season, I thought I was impressed with how he was playing. Last year, no one was particularly good, but it's a new system. It's not Paul Maurice anymore. You don't just get to walk into the building and have a spot in the top 6 because you're 6'7". So I think he really hurt himself tonight with his chances and potentially even hurt his trade value if the Jets were looking to move on from him.
Yeah, my buddy and I were talking about Logan Stanley this weekend, and we are like, well, what if we could figure out a trade for, either McLeod or Puljujarvi with the Jets or with the Oilers? And I know I've been banging that drum all summer long, but
I'd love to see that.
Right. But now it's like there's not a chance the Oilers would touch Logan Stanley with a 10-foot stick. It doesn't matter that he scored those 2 goals in 2020 for, what great goals in 2021.
In an elimination game that the Jets got
ultimately lost. Yeah. But I mean, that was the highest his trade value will ever be.
Yeah, I think you probably could have traded him at some point this summer. Same with Brendan Dillon. I think could have been traded probably at the deadline last year.
Yeah,
you look at what I've said this before. You look at what a guy like Ben Sherratt got at the deadline. Brendan Dillon's a better player with term. I feel like the Jets could have robbed someone, but I do like Dillon. I just think there's a logjam and you need to make room for these young guys that aren't named Logan Stanley.
Yeah. And arguably, I think that the Jets could trade 3 defensemen and still be A-okay. I mean, you don't want to do that because injuries do happen, but if injuries weren't a factor right now, I bet you the Jets could have traded 3 of their veterans and let 3 guys roll in.
I think 2. I think like a Stanley and Dillon or a Stanley and Schmidt. I wouldn't love trading anyone else. Like, obviously, you're not touching Morrissey or Pionk. I don't think they should move DeMello out at all. So I think 2 of those 3 or even one of those 3 would have been the right move. But we'll see how Bones wants to play it with who's in the lineup, how they're splitting games for the young guys. Like, it'll be interesting to see. But I don't think Logan Stanley's – I think he's probably still a Jet / Moose, but I don't see him being in that top 6 to start the year.
Well, he's still he's eligible for waivers now, so somebody's dumb enough to pick him up, though. Like Logan Stanley up would they not? Like if I saw Logan Stanley
it would suck to lose a first-round pick you traded up for on waivers 2 years into his career. So maybe he gets some press box time and they work with him. Maybe they try to trade him. I don't see them putting him on waivers, but that's one of the shitty things about the way the NHL contract work is like Ville may be the better option there, but he's waiver exempt. So sorry, but you're going down.
Yeah. I mean,
because we're not willing to lose a player, and at least until a trade can be made or something. Like you have to, I don't think anyone would touch Nate Schmidt's contract, so you could probably send him down in the meantime. But I think he'll have a bit of a bounce back year with this new system and Bones looking for more offense from the back end. I think Schmidt is a guy who can move the puck, and it's crazy how tippable his shot is. Do you remember that one game he had 3 assists? I'm pretty sure they were all tips. It's just like perfect shots to get tipped.
Yeah, they really are. I'd love to see more games like that. And I think we're going to see that a lot more with Bones' system too. Because there were times where you would see both DeMello and Logan Stanley trying to shoot, especially in the first. Those guys were going for it. So
yeah.
If they can get more confident on their shooting, like maybe we just have to have a bad defenseman in Logan Stanley and just let him fire rockets off.
Until he kills a player. Until he hits Cole Perfetti right in the jibs, right in front.
Listen, we've already lost one good guy in Little.
Yeah.
We do not need
let's not do that again. Think of our shorter players too. Nick Ehlers, Cole Perfetti. Those are the guys that are going to be getting hit by those shots.
Yeah.
Especially I don't know. I find it real hard to see Logan Stanley in that starting top 6, but I do think he'll be with the team in a 7th defenseman, 8th defenseman type capacity, but we'll see how that goes with how, and again, waivers, contracts, all of that works into it as well. The Jets aren't in quite as much of a cap hell as they were the last couple of years with Little's contract off the books. So that'll definitely help as well.
Yeah, I mean, like you could hypothetically trade up for a bigger, sexier contract. But one of the things that actually kind of caught me off guard with Kevin Cheveldayoff and his media availability earlier this week was he was talking about the fact that he doesn't want to go after those big names because half the time those guys end up getting bought out of their contracts. And he kind of was like, he didn't say anyone, but the first ones I kind of thought of are Milan Lucic, James Neal. There's been a couple
Ryan
of
Suter, Zach Parise. We just watched that in the division, both of them.
Yeah.
And that's 14 million dead cap for the next couple of years for Minnesota. Those two. Last year wasn't as bad, but it went up this offseason.
Yeah. And I want to make a clarification that Lucic's contract wasn't bought out, but Oilers fans were looking for it at the time.
And I mean, you look at a Nazem Kadri. By the end of that 8-year contract, what is he, 39?
Yeah. Okay. Here's a take. I bet you he only hit 60 points once in that 9 years.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But if that's the way you're going to go, you have to stop trading away draft picks.
Oh, 100%.
Unless you're like certain this guy is it, like the first Stastny one.
Yeah.
That worked out. But if you're not going to go for big name free agents, you got to build draft capital and you got to use the draft and develop, which the Jets have done well in the past, but not recently. Well, and we might see it happen again with Perfetti coming up this year. Maybe Hinola, maybe a Sandberg. They were all drafted by the Jets. They're starting to move in, but if that's your play, I don't hate the Dylan and Schmidt trades because it's guys they have a few years left, so you're getting some term there. Probably better than you would have been able to sign a guy in free agency, but it just was a tough year. So we'll see. Those trades might end up working out better this year. And actually, I didn't know, I hadn't heard that about Cheveldayoff, like what he had said. So I like that.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I kind of was sold on is like, yeah, I mean, we complained all summer long about Cheveldayoff not doing anything, but he's absolutely right. How many times have we seen contracts go sour?
Yeah.
So it's frustrating as it is as a fan. Sometimes you do need to sit on your hands a little bit and the draft and develop. I mean, as frustrating as it is to only have one legitimate shot of the Stanley Cup in the last 11 years, let's say 6 years, it's been pretty fun to watch this team. Like you go through
other than the last year sucked.
And I think I attribute that to to coaching. And I think there was a leadership issue. Like
it was just, there were just issues off ice, I think, behind the bench. It was just they needed a new voice in the room on both the player side and the coaching side. Now it looks like that might be there.
Yeah, and really, I was listening to Steve Dangle's podcast this morning, and something that I kind of forgot about: how many guys have rolled out of Winnipeg since Wheeler was captain? Like Kane, Trouba.
I think Kane had one foot out the door the whole time.
Okay,
same
so
with
let's
Trouba
ignore. But Stastny had his big blow up at the end of last season. Kopp wanted out. Eakin had his big issue.
I don't
there
think,
was like a lot of that stuff. I think we got to be putting some more blame on Wheeler than we really
That's actually fair because you look at guys. Well, I think the Kopp one, you got to blame the coaching staff a little bit because I don't think his problem was with Winnipeg. I think his problem was the fact that he never got an opportunity in Winnipeg.
No,
it sounded like when you hear him interviewed and stuff, it sounded like this is a place he wanted to be, but he never got an opportunity. And then actually, speaking of that, you look at Laine. He never really got an opportunity because no matter what he did, Wheeler was always ahead of him in the lineup. And yeah, you could say, oh, that's Wheeler, but that could potentially be coaching. Like, I mean, they're professional athletes. They all have egos. The coach has to keep that in check. And if the coach isn't doing that and they you can blame Wheeler a bit, but you also have to point the finger at Maurice and be like, well, get a hold of your captain or figure something else out because you can't be losing guys like Laine and even Kopp.
Well, let's even talk Pierre-Luc Dubois. Like, how close was he wanting out? Like, I bet you it was the leadership in that locker room that really got him wanting out of the city.
That is one example because he was given a lot of opportunity and a lot of minutes last year. So that is one example I could see the potential leadership. being an issue, but I also think just losing and I like rising tides lift all ships. If the team's
Yes.
winning, guys are going to want to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, I kind of wanted to hammer in on that because like I think we took it really easy on Wheeler, and like I saw him at the Fan Fest. Oh man, I kind of want to put a suicide watch on him. He looks depressed as
He
hell.
looked pretty bad last year too, but I mean, a fan fest especially would be tough on a guy who just got stripped of the C.
Yeah,
That's
he did not
yeah.
want to be there at all. Like I mean,
I don't blame him
yeah.
at all.
Well, it's like, why would you wheel him out? Like maybe this isn't the time, but like, yeah, you want to put a good light on him, but he was just like,
And
yeah, I
he's
checked
still
out.
one of the stars, so you still need him there. But like, yeah,
Well, one of the things
that's
I
tough.
found really interesting about FanFest, so I did kind of like to look at all the big posters. All the names are on there except for Wheels. So I saw a Shifley posters. I saw Ehlers. I like all of the big guys. There's no Wheeler on any of those posters.
So speaking of FanFest, what was there anyone that really like stood out to you on the ice?
I went a little bit late, unfortunately. So I was just there for I listened to Chevy talk for like I literally caught the end of Chevy talking. So I wasn't able to get into the ice, and then just saw panels and just guys talking. So it was just like it was very generic. Sarah Lasky asking some very easy questions to a lot of the guys, and I mean,
Just some layups.
yeah, basically. And I mean, the young guys that I saw in the afternoon, I think it was Sandberg, Jeff Malott, and Kovacevic. But they were just like those guys are super awkward about being up there. Yeah, they need to figure out a way to get hockey players to stop being robots. But honestly,
Yeah,
FanFest
well,
was
you stop training them how to answer interviews when they're like 14 because
yeah.
that's what happens in Canada and even some in the US.
Yeah, well, it's like I can understand trying to train a guy not to drop an F bomb on national TV. That's a fine thing to teach kids, but like to teach them to be like, yeah, here's my basic answer. Like one of the questions that kept coming up: who's got the cleanest locker room, or who's got the cleanest locker? Who's got the messiest one? It's like, okay, cool.
Who
I don't.
cares?
Yeah,
That's on the
that,
interview. Like
well,
I get that it's FanFest and you want to throw them some layups, but like what?
yeah, well, I mean, like you could have those questions done up a little bit beforehand, just so they're there for it. But I think FanFest is like I'm a 26-year-old. I went by myself. It wasn't for me at all. I went to enter in for free tickets, and I haven't seen anything yet. So, but like there was lots of things going on for the kids. There was street hockey outside. There was the big inflatable jumpy things for the kids.
You're just a big kid. You should have gotten in there.
Listen, if no one would judge me, 100% I would have been in those lines. But if you go by yourself, everyone's gonna be like, "Okay, weirdo." So I had to just go listen to interviews. But like I had a good time. I had a Dubois jersey in my hand that was worth $80. It was when he wore number 13. It's like, I want this, but at the same time, no. I got it. I got my Ehlers jersey signed by Nikki Ehlers. So thank you, Nikki
Nice,
Ehlers. Yeah.
nice. So one name you mentioned that I liked some of the stuff he did tonight was Jeff Malott.
Yeah.
I like that he was always in there kind of mixing it up. At least towards the end of the game,
yeah.
Every time there was a scrum, he looked
he
like
was
he
right
was
there
in the middle of it. Yeah.
Well, Tyler Benson just being a big old dweeb hanging out in like just getting in there too. I'm like, Tyler Benson, get out of here. Just big grin on his face. I was ready for Jeff Malott to just pop him one. He deserved it.
And what did you think of Rittich tonight?
I thought he was good for he was good for 55 minutes, and then those 5 minutes where he was not good, it was a real gong show.
He needs to pick his moments to play the puck better.
Yeah, well,
there were times where he was just cutting off Jets defensemen behind the net.
Yeah. So that's one thing is he's going to need to figure out how to communicate with his guys. And then that's the thing is now the Jets have two goaltenders who do not play the puck at all. Like neither Hellebuck or Rich can play the puck, and they need to they need to go find Mike Smith and be like, listen, man, you're going to teach us how to flick the puck up the ice.
I want to see Hellebuck never leave the crease. He's so, and like I'd rather have a Connor Hellebuck than a Mike Smith. Yeah, Mike Smith can play the puck, but he's Connor freaking Hellebuck.
Oh yeah. Listen, like I'm not going to say we want I will take prime Connor Hellebuck over Mike Smith, but if you could get Mike Smith to goaltend coach just a little bit, you don't need to have him take over Flaherty's job, but just be like, here's $200,000. Just hang out in Winnipeg, teach your guys how to play. $200,000. Listen, just throw him a couple bucks.
I can stick handle. Give me that money. Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, it's nice when a goalie can play the puck and maybe a couple times a year causes a fast break. I remember a couple of years back being at a Jets game against the Lightning and Vasilevsky playing the puck up the side wall as the Jets went for a change on the penalty kill, and the Lightning went in and scored, and he played it from his crease to the far blue line like on a dime. That was great, but how many times a year does that actually happen?
Not enough, which is unfortunate.
Exactly.
I mean, Oilers fans are still living on Dwayne Rolson flicking the puck up to Michael Pekka, and that was 16 years ago.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes those guys who play the puck a lot, they also shoot it out and get penalties for delay of game a lot.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to take the good with the bad there. So I think Hellebuck's issue is not that he can't play the puck. It's that he can't play the puck and he still tries to.
That, and I mean, like, he doesn't pick his moments well. Like, I remember
stay in the goddamn net.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
your goal is to stay in the net. Don't you, like, unless you are 1,000,000% confident, and that's the thing, is goalies shouldn't be 1,000,000% confident in anything they do. Sorry.
Weird.
It is a weird way, but like, goaltending in the NHL is just a lot of luck. It's just like, you just gotta be faster than the rest.
Goaltending in general, who wants to have your job be purposefully getting hit by a puck coming at you at 100 miles an hour? Like,
no one chooses to be a goaltender. It's always like, well, that guy could probably goaltend the best, and that's
they're always the weirdos.
Well, that's basically
they're either the quietest guy in the room or the loudest.
Yeah, and that's basically it. Is they are, like you said, loudest or quietest, and that's how they get chosen to be the goaltender when they're like 6 years old, and that's basically the destiny of every goaltender. You're too weird. All right, you're going to the net because we can't handle you on the bench.
Yeah, no one wants to talk to you. Get in the net.
Yeah. I mean, like, I would have been a goaltender kid. That just would have been it. I know I am. Okay. Yeah. Over under on David Rittich playing in net 20 games.
I think he'll play 20.
20? So you're going over?
Do. He played like 11 games last year. It's the first preseason game. He had a rough 5-minute stretch. I don't think it's like start freaking out about David Rittich yet. I mean, I think give the guy a chance to kind of get his rhythm going. And I do think he's better when he's playing a few more games. So I think we'll see at least 20 out of him. Hellebuck should not be playing 60 games.
He shouldn't be, but I mean, Hellebuck thinks he can play 60 games and then still do a playoff run.
He did 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was a Vezina finalist.
Yeah. And if Maurice would have been cool with just deciding to split up the lines for like 2 games, we could be talking.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know, we're still mad.
It's making me sad, and it was 4 years ago. Oh, but how fun was that Nashville series?
Man, it was fantastic. I don't think there was a better series that season.
I messed up. I don't think I've said this story yet. So my dad shares season tickets with people, so I get to go to a decent amount of games. And that playoffs, he had game 3 against Nashville, but I had a hockey game that night. So I convinced him to trade them with someone who had game 4 against Nashville. And game 3 was that sick comeback. And game 4, the Jets lost. Yeah. And then the other game I went to that playoffs was, I believe, game 2 against Vegas. Right. So the Jets won game 1, lost game 2. So I was 0 for those playoffs, and
all right,
those are the only 2 playoff games I've been to.
So when we're professionals at this and we get given hockey tickets and playoff tickets, you're not allowed to go to any playoff games.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, sorry. We've already locked this up. No playoffs for Sam.
I don't think that's how it works. No, I'm due.
You're due.
I'm
Oh.
due. Just like, hey, going into last year's playoffs, sorry, rather 2 years ago, the bubble year, everyone was like, oh, the Oilers are going to kill the Jets. They were 8-3 against the Jets this year. And I was like, that just means the Jets are due. Law of averages. They're not going to
Yeah.
beat us 12 times in 1 year. And guess who was right?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was you because I lost a bunch of money because I was being like, the Jets won't be able to do it against the Oilers in the playoffs. McDavid's going to score 9 goals.
And then Neil Pionk was like, watch this.
Yeah, watch this. Like, there's going to be a thorn in this guy's side for 4 straight games. It's fantastic watching Oilers fans try to be like, Neil Pionk. More sounds like what the donkey sounds like, but yeah.
What did you think of Dan Robertson, new play-by-play guy?
I actually, because I'm a cheap ass, haven't paid for TSN yet in the last couple of months, so I didn't listen to Dan Robertson. But I'm more annoyed that TSN didn't give a proper press release. So like I ended up listening to Jack Michaels, so my bad. But where was TSN to give a press release? Like I know it's not big, but like
announce it.
Yeah. Why do I need to find out on Twitter at 10 a.m. this morning that Robertson's doing this? Like it
wasn't even a press release. It was in the game notes. He was the play-by-play call, and that was just kind of like everyone was like, okay, well that just means he's doing the season, right? Because why would you have someone else?
Yeah. Why'd you fly a guy in from Montreal just to do a single game? And not even fly him to Winnipeg, but fly him straight to Edmonton.
I thought he was good.
Yeah, a lot of people on Twitter were very pro.
I thought he was solid. I mean, he's not Dennis, but it was also his first game with a new team, and it was a bunch of players that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
So I thought he did a fantastic job. Kevin Sawyer is, I find, very up and down, but I thought Robertson was, I thought he was pretty good, and I'm looking forward once the regular season starts to kind of hearing once he gets into a rhythm with the new team, seeing how that goes.
Yeah. Have you seen the new Twitter account of Kevin Sawyer Says?
No.
Oh, man. So it just takes like, you got to check it out because it's like, you don't realize all of the dumb things he says. Because I was listening to Bob Stauffer tonight and I was like, man, I used to hate Bob Stauffer, but I really like Bob Stauffer compared to Kevin Sawyer.
I think Kevin Sawyer's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
We were very spoiled when the Jets came back with Dennis Bayak and Shane Knighty as the color guy. Like that was absolutely a dynamic duo. Sawyer has had some really bad games.
Yeah,
but in the last few years, the games they're getting fewer and further between the really bad ones.
Well, I mean, like we're both doing broadcasting, and I mean, how far have you come in just the last? Well, you've been at your station for almost a year now, and like, look how far you've come.
Yeah, that's fair. That is true. So I mean, yes, but I also went with the base of going to broadcasting school. But I guess he is the experience of, being a professional hockey player, which helps. But it's just like, I don't know. There used to be a lot of things where it's like, shut up, Kevin. Like, you're not adding anything. Let Dennis call the game. But he definitely has gotten a lot better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, that's just been the frustrating thing is guys finish up their career with hockey and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I can do broadcasting because I don't cuss my way through it. It's like, that's fantastic, but maybe you should spend the 15 grand and go off to broadcasting school for a year just to get yourself into the rhythm.
Why would they, if they can get the job at TSN?
I mean, okay, yeah, that's fair.
Why would they go to broadcasting school just to be laid off by Bell in the prime of their career? Oh no. He said it.
Oh, no. Listen, everyone in Canadian media knows our opinion and knows what Bell does. There's a reason why I will never, ever work for Bell.
If the money was there, I would.
No, it doesn't matter. It has to be a guaranteed 10-year contract.
Don't say never ever. You never know what happens.
Again, like I've been very vocal about that, but that's my big issue with Bell and whatever. Yeah. So FanFest, fantastic, definitely for the kids, more for families. Jets did a good job. The one thing that I think that the Jets could do a little bit more is just have Mickey Moose out in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, they could do a better job with that. I don't know. He's at the Jets stuff, which is really where you need the mascot. Like,
but I mean, like you look at Gritty and like there's a couple and Hunter too from the
Gritty's
Oilers.
one of a kind.
But like Hunter has his own social media, and like they're constantly posting there. And it's like, why? I think that stuff pays dividends. Like kids are only going to care about a superstar player, and most of the kids seem like they cared about Kyle Connor yesterday, so that's great. And they care about the mascot.
Yeah,
that's it. And they're like,
the kids don't have Twitter.
No, they don't. But so, like, I think like really, it's just like if you want young fans, I think that's a big thing. It's you got to be pushing your mascot a lot more. And I get
that's fair.
And like as a like I know what the mascots in this city get paid for their big job, like Boomer, Buzz, and Mickey. I know they get paid handsomely. So it's just like get them out there some more. Have the like you don't need to have them out 24/7, but I think doing regular posts on social media is a big one. You know, just so a dad could show his kid, be like, hey, look at what Mickey's up to today. I think that kind of stuff goes a long way, and especially if he's just out in the community.
Yeah, that's fair.
But other than that, yeah, FanFest, fantastic. Jets need to be doing that stuff a little bit more. And for all that is good in the world, please have guys that aren't Adam Party and others as the autographers. Nothing wrong with Adam Party, but
that's who is there.
Yeah, it was Adam Party, and I can't remember the two other guys that were there signing autographs. Like it was guys that was like Adam Party was the only one I was mildly excited.
Well, you probably need guys who live in Winnipeg already. Like you're not going to bring a guy in for that.
So. I don't know. Like the Oilers and the Flames constantly bring guys in for that kind of stuff.
Huh.
So
yeah, I do agree though. The Jets need to do more of that fan engagement type stuff. I mean, I've talked about that at length on multiple times podcast. Yeah. So,
and I mean, like it is hard to like because the Jets are still such a fresh organization. Like you're not going to bring in Ilya Kovalchuk and be like, yeah, remember when he played for the Thrashers when we were the Thrashers? Like that's obviously going to be a big difference, but I don't know if you can find.
And you're not going to bring in guys who are still playing for other teams.
So I mean, like the Jets,
and then other guys probably just don't want to come.
But you think you throw them a couple grand and you're just like, listen, we'll fly you up for the afternoon.
But for you, it's just tossing money around. You're just tossing Chipper's money around today.
Listen, Chipper can just either he's going to start giving me tickets to games or he's going to start throwing money around. Something's going to give. I know he's listening. Did you see that the Howard statue is in Winnipeg now?
Yes. Yeah, that's exciting. I just hope no one messes with it
right
and like now and when it starts. That's as soon as I saw that was going up already, I was like, please tell me you have like a good fence around it or something.
They have to. I mean, like,
or also someone's just gonna like cut the packaging off and expose it, which would be a real shame.
Yeah, it's like it's not hard to get that cheap fencing in, and I'm sure they have more than enough cameras at.
You would think they would have kept it in storage until like the day or two before.
Well,
is it the first?
Yeah, that is on the 1st, so that's still 6 days away. That's next Saturday.
It's almost a week, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I know for a fact, like when I did construction pipelining, it was, when stuff goes south, it's when you need it to go right at the time. So I think that's kind of their fear.
Getting it in there nice and early is not a terrible idea.
But yeah, I mean, it is the fear of some jackass deciding to think that it's a good
idea. It is Winnipeg.
It is, because I've had 3 people this past week try to break into my house or do something to mess with it, and I'm super pissed.
I was talking to your partner the other day, and they were saying that you had a light bulb stolen.
Yeah, so last Monday morning at 4:40 a.m., I hear somebody like trying to wiggle themselves into my front door. They see me in my boxers with a baseball bat in my hand, and I'm yelling at them, get the hell out of here. They took off real quick. She almost got hit by a car. Super funny. Yeah, buddy stole our light bulb. And then this afternoon, so we had like old mail from the previous tenants of this house. And we're just like, here it is outside, so that way the mailman can get it. And some fool decided to steal mail, which doesn't mean anything to me, but it's just like, stop breaking into my house.
That's a big crime.
Yeah, it's a federal crime.
Mail fraud. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bad. So you moved to a fun area.
I did. And like the safety map was like, you're all good there, homie. And I was just like, yeah, this has not been a fun week. That's all I can say at this point. I'm mad. Leave my house alone. That if you're listening to this, just you see me, you just know that you'll catch me in my boxers with a baseball bat, and this time I'm running after you.
Oh boy.
Thanks, Winnipeg. Either way, we got 3 minutes left. Let's wrap this thing up.
Yep.
Definitely give us a follow, subscribe, do all of that fun stuff, whether you're listening on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, whatever it is. Just give us a follow. Chuck Jets Nation a follow on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Sam, what's your Twitter?
Brownell12 on Twitter. I finally figured out how to make it not private anymore.
There we go.
So that is no longer private. So you can actually like see my few tweets. Sam Brownell Radio on Instagram. And yeah, that's really the only social medias I use.
Well, make sure you check out Egg Review at noon on 7 CKDM. I don't know why I keep shouting out the station. Like they're not paying me anything, but like go check out Sam. He does good work.
Absolutely. Listen to everything Egg going on is covered in that show.
It's a great show. Like you're really missing out.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah, that's what the beauty of AM radio is learning and hearing guys stumble their way through stuff. So
yep,
I was a stumbling my way through stuff kind of a guy. And also chuck me a follow, Angus Hout on Twitter and Instagram. I'd be happy to see you there. And have yourself a great week. Be good and do good there, friends.
Thanks for listening.